Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to our regular board meeting, February 12th, 2026 at the Magna Water District. I'd love to call this meeting to order. Will everybody stand with me with the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I'd like to welcome the public and guests. And so today, around our diary table, is we've got Trevor Andre, Dallas Henline, Steve Clark, Andrew Sumption, Jeff White, Mick Sudbury, Danny Stewart, Leal Fitzgerald, Nathan Bracken, and Clint Dilly. Public comment. So if anybody's wanting to speak to the board, here we're going to give you 3 minutes. So does anybody have anything they'd like to address to the board? Or any questions? Okay, seeing none. Does anybody on the agenda have a conflict of interest that they need to disclose to the board? Okay, easy. So let's move on to our recognizing our employees. Andrew. So.
Yeah, unfortunately they weren't able to make it in today. The collections crews got a job going on that they couldn't come from, and Gene is got a vacation day today. But we'd like to recognize Clint Giles for completing his traffic control tech. As we continue to do this, we get safer and safer out there on the roads. Gavin Ferguson, one of our newer employees, just completed his CDL. It's the first step in becoming a full member of the team to be fully operational. And then Quentin Garange finished his water distribution 1. He's on our collections crew, and he's now got a collections certification as well as a water distribution certification. And then Gene Stott, he just bid and was the successful bid on the facility maintenance position. He hit the ground running this week. I think he's knocking off a big list of to-do items that we've been waiting to get done, so we're excited to have him.
Awesome. That's good. Okay, let's approve our common consent items.
Minutes of the regular board meeting held January 8, 2026. Expenses from December 29th, 2025 to February 1st, 2026. General expenses, $1,941,319.33. Zions Bank bond payment, $83,530.83.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to our department reports. Clint.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Like we talked, Gene just filled the service maintenance facilities, so his position on the water construction crew opened up. That was posted in-house, and will close next Tuesday, it sounds like, right, Andrew?
Yes, Tuesday evening.
And then if we don't get any bids on that, we'll open it up outside. So if anybody has any referrals, any interested people looking for jobs, we'd love to have them submit a resume for us to consider. Other things I want to just highlight on the report, on the operations side for the water, the crews have been draining and cleaning and inspecting all of our drinking water storage tanks, which is nice to go through for housekeeping, as well as inspection of how the corrosion, especially our steel tanks, that's the biggest concern. And so they're taking pictures and going through that process the past couple weeks. Anything to add on that, Steve?
No, we're just gonna try and get through all of them this year if possible. We'll probably have to take a break through the summer when demand's high, but then pick back up in the fall and get the ones that we weren't able to this spring. But so far, they've done the 2 steel tanks up at 4100, and they're working on 35th right now. And
Awesome.
So when we're talking about solar power, are we putting battery backup in places that's not feasible for generators?
Yeah, so you remember the issue we had up there in Zone 3, so that has to deal with that.
A little solar panel with some battery backup, or?
Yeah, we're updating that, and then we also were able to incorporate a couple other alarms at different facilities
Okay.
that will help us watch that.
Oh,
Plus,
good.
we're putting in a single fire ranger that's kind of like the setup we have here at the pond.
Okay, that's
And
great.
it'll be just for that tank, so
Oh, good,
we shouldn't have that issue again.
yeah, that's great.
Some redundancy that I think will help us make sure we avoid that. We haven't heard back from the Great Salt Lake on the leasing of the water shares on the canal, but we'll follow up with them. We usually have until canal season starts to
Yeah.
get that in place, so.
I mean, I told them that the board approved to move ahead with that, and so they've replied from there and said they would get the agreement ready. And then I hadn't
I'd like to
heard-
bring that back
yeah.
in March. if you-
I hadn't heard back from them, so I did double check again to make sure they weren't waiting for us on anything, and she said, no, it should be coming soon, and that was a
So
week ago.
how will that water shares get down? Will they take it from the Jordan River and put it in the canal that goes?
Yeah, it'll just come
Or will
through
they
here,
take it here and,
Right down
and we just won't pull any of it.
right, it won't change the flow or anything, I mean, the level? It
Well,
won't just-
yeah, but potentially it could go up a little bit,
But we don't need it, right?
we don't. I don't think you'll see a big difference.
I don't either.
It'll just kind of flow down the canal over into the Great
Yeah,
Salt Lake.
going to the Great Salt Lake, so I think that's pretty neat. You know, that adds up.
Well, it'll help them out anyway.
How many shares was that?
How many total?
We
We're
have,
at-
I think, sorry, memory, 343, so 75% of that, 240,
How many?
280,
280 shares.
Wow, that's good, that'll help them out.
roughly.
Yeah, and you times that by
What are they paying us now?
4.59,
Yeah, times that by 4.
Yeah, that's acre feet.
so it's over 1,000 acre feet.
Yeah, wow.
What are they paying us a share?
It was
Can't
about
remember.
48,000 we
Yeah.
got paid last year for half
The
of our
whole.
shares, so
Yeah.
we'll probably get 75,
And that's a good resource for them because they could use it, we just don't need it.
right?
We just don't need it in our pipes.
Yeah, and
We don't need the fish in our pipes.
Yeah. That's right. On the wastewater side, just want to highlight, the collections crew did some half-day blue stake training with the 811, right? I think that's important. I'd like Dallas to kind of share with you what they go through.
Sure. About 3 years ago, Blue Stakes went to a online digital dashboard. So now each entity receives their Blue Stake locate requests through an online portal. Within the online portal, you can reach out directly to the contractor that submitted the Blue Stake. You can apply pictures from the field right to the exact ticket, and then it's got everybody's contact information on there. So the training was a refresher on the online dashboard. It also ensures that there's continuity between utility markers, that we're all marking the lines the same way, how they're supposed to be marked by standard. And then it gives the entities and the contractors the chance to, say, what's working well, what do we need to improve on? And it's just a half-day local training that we try to get the newer operators to, and some of our older operators, we get them there every few years as a refresher. So pretty valuable.
Yeah, I appreciate you keeping up on that. As blue staking has become such a substantial part of the workload,
Correct.
I think it's important that we continue to
Yeah.
invest in that. They've completed some warranty work on the Vector truck, and then have worked on some cross-training of the water guys on the
I have a
collection
question
side.
on the back truck.
Yeah,
Is this the warranty that came with the truck?
It is.
So what we're finding is, maybe not necessarily on our equipment, but sometimes we don't exercise it and find a problem because we don't use that feature.
Sure.
But sometimes we need to check that out and make sure before that warranty expires.
Right.
Because we're finding out some of the manufacturers are taking exception to some things. And it's quite costly.
Sure.
If you don't do it, so we gotta make sure we check it out. I don't know when the warranty will run out on it, but we need to make sure we thoroughly check it before that warranty deadline.
Yeah, great idea. Thank you.
Okay, on the office side, wanted to highlight a couple things. We had the new office cleaning company take over. I think we've all noticed an improvement in the facilities. And so we'll hope that continues, and we'll continue to maintain that, monitor them. We had to submit the annual water use data report. Leal worked with Trevor and Steve to get that into the Division of Water Rights. We did close the bond closure meeting. We held that yesterday with Division of Drinking Water and Zion's Bank, and that went well. I think it ended up at 1.6 million in principal forgiveness.
Oh, wow.
So basically a grant.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, pretty exciting for the community to get the majority of that paid for, so to reduce the burden on
So
the
Clint, I got a
residents.
question. Will you post that in a newsletter?
Yeah.
And we'll put that out in our, I think people in this city need to see that.
Yeah. The Zion's Bank made a comment that they hadn't seen
Those terms.
those terms from any of their clients.
Wow.
So, pretty good terms.
Maybe what you might want to do too is Mary Dean Alexander is the MSD people that does our communications. You might want to reach out to her and let her, give her the information, let her post it too.
Okay. Yeah, we can make a note of that and post that information. And then Leal's found this potential solution I think is maybe a good option for us. In Cassell, they have, typically we use a service order module that's linked to a customer address. So that's how we've historically handled generating leak checks, things like that, of that nature, right? Shut-ons,
Just on the
shut-offs.
customers, yeah.
And it's based on a customer address, but there's another module that she said that could be, it's called a work order, that we might be able to improve our tracking of the main breaks when they're not at a particular address.
Like our facilities.
It's more our facility tracking. And then also with Gene working on a lot of the facilities maintenance, it could also be used to help track his progress. So there could be work orders generated, and then we could see, rather than him keeping a separate database, this could all be in Cassell.
The same thing.
And so she's gonna look into that a little bit more. I thought that could be something that improves our efficiency and our tracking. So once we're ready, we'll bring some information back to the board to consider if you want to move forward with that.
Great.
On communications and morale, attended a Jordan Valley conservation-oriented rate structure development meeting with other districts and cities. This is in regards to their retail system. I just thought it was interesting to give the board a heads up of some of these ideas they're considering are pretty extreme in my mind. One of the ideas that was thrown out is that there would be an individualized average rate of usage. So you would almost have, each customer would also almost have their own individual rate structure. So I don't think, based on the feedback, I don't think they're gonna move forward with that option. But I want you to know that those ideas are starting to be discussed.
Is that a way to increase their taxes?
I think it's a way to try to continue to encourage conservation and also adjust it more to the user and their lot specifics and their family size, rather than have categories that aren't as closely matched and aren't as comparable
Yeah.
from place to place. If Trevor has a half-acre lot and he has 10 kids, you know, compared to a small little lot with a single family, if they're on the same breaks in their usage, Trevor might say, hey, that's not fair to me. because I'm, you know, a bigger,
Cause you got 10 kids.
because I've got,
Kids, you should get a lot of breaks.
so in that scenario, Trevor's usage would be adjusted to the lot size, his family size, and then his average usage would be tracked, and if he went significantly above that, that could change the rate. So I don't think they're heading that direction, but there's some pretty extreme ideas being thrown out there for conservation. And so wanted to give you a heads up as the board, as we move forward with ours, I think we'll strike a good balance. The other thing I wanted to let you know of is we've got a meeting with the golf course board scheduled for next Wednesday to discuss secondary water options. I think they've been in communication with Kennecott, and I think they're ready to move forward with
Next
something.
Wednesday at what time?
4:30
Yeah.
down at the golf course.
4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then last, I'll just highlight, been working on the goals to finalize for the employee performance goals for the March meeting. Andrew's been doing some new Arbinger training for the new employees, which I think is really positive. We sent out that 2025 year in review and 2026 look ahead flyer to customers in the February bill. We haven't had much response on that yet. I will note that we did have quite a few comments on the water pressure check flyer.
Let's get one.
So that flyer that you recommended we put something together on, there's a lot of good feedback on that. A lot of calls in, a lot of questions. I think that was a good
Was it more
positive.
positive?
Yeah, positive. So that's my report, unless the board has any questions.
Okay, let's move over to our engineering report.
Thank you, Board and Chair. Some highlights here, influent pump station. They've got the screw pumps set in their channels. We got to see a little bit of that with their big crane and how that went in. They also set a 96-inch manhole recently, biggest one we have in the district. It's pretty cool to see that size. Haynes number 8 well replacement. We had a meeting with the EPA. Finally got them to come together with us and give us direction on how to shore up that grant for Haynes number 8. With that, we're planning to move forward on the well drilling, and then the well house will be specific to the grant. So that'll let us move that forward, kind of ASAP. So intend to bid out the well drilling fairly soon. See, other things, change house design's moving along well, speeding along quickly, approaching 90%. Zone 3 reservoir, that construction is underway. Made a lot of good progress there. You can see the shape of the reservoir. They're doing some outfall work and structure work and getting some drain pipe in, and they'll start on the pipeline pretty soon. And then, like mentioned, we closed on our grant for the lead and copper, and we've been coordinating with the contractor. We'll give them a notice to proceed soon, and then we'll start that whole process, working with the customers to get, into their yard, into their house, and start getting those replaced. So that's all I have. If there's any questions,
Any question from the board?
No.
Thanks, Drew.
Any problem on the railroad project?
no. That's just there as a reminder.
Thanks, Trevor.
Yep.
Okay, Steve?
All right, thank you, Board and Chair. So the culinary water for production for the month of January was 102.89 million gallons, or 315.79 acre feet. That's a 0.8% increase from January of 2025. So far, year to date, we've purchased 67.3 acre feet of water from Jordan Valley. As far as call-outs go, for the month, we had a total of 19. 17 of those were water, 2 were wastewater, for a total of 124.25 hours. 115.25 of those were water, and then 9 of them were wastewater. We had 4 mainline leaks, 3 service line leaks, and then 12 miscellaneous calls. And then, unless you guys have any questions about the stuff we talked about earlier, that's all I have.
Steve, what's the minimum that we use from Jordan Valley? Do we have a threshold?
We have a threshold, a minimum.
800 acre feet
800 acre feet?
for the year.
And how do we keep that in check so we don't use too much?
Matt, he constantly monitors it down
Oh, he
at the
does?
treatment plant. Yeah.
We have our own projections, and then every month Jordan Valley has the projection of where we're at and where they think we'll end up based on our usage. So there's several checks into that to make sure we're not gonna leave any on the table. Yeah,
Because we'll pay for it, right?
yeah, that's right.
Okay. I just was wondering about that.
Okay, Dallas.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, thank you. Just a couple things I wanted to go over. January was really good for the plant. All the regulatory samples are good. The first quarter biomonitoring passed. That's always a relief for us. We had some scheduled preventative maintenance done on our west fine screens in the Headworks building. Sometimes those roller wheels get a flat spot in them, and they're like an inline skate wheel. They just wear down. So as we see that wear item start to go, we schedule that maintenance, and some of the roller bearings need to be replaced at the same time. So we coordinated that with the mechanics and got ahead of that. On the collection side of it, we're gathering pricing for our annual collection system repairs. That usually takes us a few months. Then I'll bring that pricing back to the board, and we'll get that scheduled and start working on those this fall. We're due for our annual sewer line rapid assessment testing with SLRAT. That's the acoustic inspections that we do. We target 75 to 80% of our collection system piping through those inspections. I'd like to get that price. We've budgeted for a do not exceed of $65,000. If it's okay with the board, I'll bring that back in March, and we can discuss that a little further. Right now, the collections crew, they're flushing the lines between 3100 and 35th South, and they're working their way east from 84 to 8000. Yeah, just going back to the screw pumps that Trevor mentioned, I've updated the photo behind this report to kind of show one of those screws in the air for those that didn't get to see it. And then we've got some additional photos that we can share if anybody's got some interest and wants to take a look. So that's pretty much all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless the board's got some questions.
What is the standard gonna change to? Or don't we have a standard coming up that they're gonna change
If you're referring to
on these limits?
it was effluent total FOS, and that went into effect with our new permit for 2025.
And how long do you think that'll go before they change that?
Probably indefinitely,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
There's no word on the horizon that our permit limit would change. It would be dictated by the receiving waters,
Okay.
which our receiving waters aren't gonna change. So I'm not gonna say it's permanent, but usually they give us several years heads up.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that are in the same boat, but I noticed when we started doing air quality on baghouses like at Staker and Geodyne, I noticed when they seen how well you do, then they started to tighten the belt up and make the restrictions more.
Sure.
And if you look at that report, that's exceptional. So I don't know if it's that good in the summertime as it is the winter, but winter is our toughest time, isn't it? But it hasn't been a very bad winter.
No, that's right. We've had some hot and cold flashes, and that's tough. If it was just cold all winter, that'd be one thing. We can manage that. But when it gets up to 45 or 50 and then down to 30, the plant reacts a little differently in those shoulder months. But we're doing well.
What did we end up doing with our oil monitoring, are we still sending in samples, or
We are, yep.
what are we gonna do for vibration? Did you guys decide?
We've got some good intel on that, and we've got a few different options lined up. Cost comparison is where we stand right now, and we've got our table built of every piece of equipment that we think would need it. It's just a matter of getting the water and the wastewater on the same page and figuring out whether we want to commit to it based on the cost, and still a little bit of investigation, but we are making headway.
I was hearing some negative things about the global vibration detection. It can get quite expensive. So if you have a handle on what equipment you've got and everything, then, and you can lock that in, then you're doing great.
Right.
But a lot of the plants, they change management, then all of a sudden they start adding to it. And when they add, it starts to get exponential instead of linear.
Right.
And so as long as we're not adding equipment, they said, and you can lock that in, you'll be doing great.
Sure.
And they said it's pretty hard to beat that comparing to trying to, one, train your people and get the machine and keep track of the data, and then human error.
Right.
Those are the things that are too many variables. And so they say it's really advantage with the global system, but the catch is if they expand it, it really catches you, so.
Sure. Great point. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's move on to Lee Isle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board. So this is the compliance of our legal requirements. We are in compliance with the legal requirements that we're required to complete. The blue highlighted is the ones we have completed. We submitted the salaries and benefits information that goes on the public transparency website, and we also have done the quarterly to budget actual reports to the transparency website, and of course today, just a minute, I'm gonna report to the board for that. The semi-annual money management report has been submitted. It was due January 31st. What else? Water use report, Clint reported we have completed that. The only thing I have highlighted coming up is the public hearing for our impact fees next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. So,
6 p.m.
other than that, we are in compliance. And Mr. Chair, if you want me, does anybody have any questions on that?
I don't have none. The board have any questions? Okay.
Okay. If you would like, I can proceed into the financials.
I actually went through this and I thought it looked good to me, so.
I thought it looks really good too. We ended up with showing an income,
Right.
a little bit smaller than
I don't
last
think
year.
it was high enough. You need to raise it.
I would
Well,
go
we're
along
probably
with you
low
on
on
that
the
one.
list compared, I looked at Kearns and some of them there, it's astronomical compared, but
Like how much they ended up with?
they charge a lot more for impact fees than
Oh.
we do. We're on the low side,
Yeah,
but Nathan said we have to follow in line with the requirement.
yes, we do.
So Nathan, is there a bill up there on the hill about the impact fees being,
No, what you're referring to is a
Okay.
bill. So the challenge that the state's facing, and I think this is part of probably what's prompting Jordan Valley with some of its rates, is that all the infrastructure that we're currently using was built many decades ago. It's reaching the end of its design life, and it was built with a lot of public money, both from the federal government and the state. All that federal money and all that is gone for the most part, and so the legislature is looking at a $34 billion price tag to keep, just to maintain our infrastructure. So the bill I think that you're referring to at the league meeting is, there's a bill that would, essentially what they should do, in my opinion, is appropriate money, but I think they've moved to a different model in which they're essentially doing pass-through fees. And so this model would require every public water supplier, which you guys would qualify as, to impose a fee that would be based upon the median income level in your service area, multiplied that by a percentage. I think it's 3% if you do water and sewer, which you do, and then divide that by your connections. And I think when Trevor did the math, what was it? It was like $14 million and $1,400
Oh,
per
it was 20
connection.
million.
20 million.
Yeah.
And so I've been checking with my other water suppliers, and I've seen, you guys are actually the lowest. Everybody else is gonna be like $2,500 per connection.
Wow.
And I think that's maybe just due to the difference in the median income levels.
Imagine.
I don't know where that bill's gonna go. But the point is the state's trying to come up with creative ways to fund stuff. Water suppliers are trying to come up with creative ways to fund stuff. So I'm not really aware of anything with impact fees, but with these type of pass-through fees that are being kind of, and this is conceptually in line with the bill that we talked about last year, which was that you'd have to impose a similar fee that would be based on usage to fund drinking water infrastructure. This would go into a similar fund, but it would be more for water supply. And I think if it passes, you would have the option of participating in it this year, January 1st, 2027. And if you didn't participate in it, you wouldn't be eligible for state funding in that fund. But then I think it becomes mandatory in 2030. So, so I don't know if that'll pass, but talking major money, I mean, that's. But that's the reality, is that whatever you're paying for water, either here or anywhere else in the state, it's going to be more. And the question is how much more? And so the idea is to try to get ahead of it. And that, to be fair to the legislature, they are trying to tackle this issue and get ahead of it before. So it's, instead of it being a $1,400 annual increase, instead of it being a $5,000 annual increase, because the longer it takes to fix this stuff. But as part of that, most districts aren't charging enough water or money for the water, and so when you go to get bonds and things, they're gonna take a harder look, are your rates high enough? So why should the other taxpayers in the state pay for your infrastructure because you haven't been charging enough? I'm not saying that's the case here, but that is a pretty common thing. But impact fees that's a totally separate process that's governed by some constitutional principles, and that's based upon what the actual impact is. So we've gone through an analysis, and I think the difference, Jeff, between what we may be charging when another district is it probably costs more there, and that's why the impact fees are higher.
Well, I've been impressed that we've been able to get grants and stuff to help with some of our stuff. But we do have older pipes and stuff that have to be done, but I think Trevor and you guys have really done a good job trying to keep ahead of that, so.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of kind of the challenge with some of these things, because if and I'm not a legislator, no one wants like to be in their shoes, but to me, the simplest thing would just be for the state to raise taxes or raise funding and just appropriate that, rather than having these disparate fees that are gonna impact every district and every water user differently. But there is this, I think, approach to kind of move to a more fee-based approach to thing, but that particular fee is really just an income tax. It's just applied locally rather than at a state level.
Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, Leal, I think it looks good.
Okay, cool.
You guys okay?
And just to report,
good, yeah.
we are within budget and our expenses, so when we submit our audit at the end of this year or next year, the state will be happy.
Okay,
We're
awesome.
under budget,
With the
so.
hearing we've got next Thursday, then we make a ruling on it the following meeting.
No, the agenda is set up to have the hearing, so any public that attends, they'll have a time to make comment on the proposed changes, and then if the board sees fit, we can approve that right there,
We can,
that
Oh,
night.
in that meeting, we approve it in the meeting, okay.
I'll also just point out a couple things that stood out to me. I think it's a testament to the operations managers, especially, and their teams on the engineering side as well. We reduced our expenses from we were less in 2025 than we were in 2024, which tells me that we used our resources better, we used less, we used our people more efficiently. I think that's great to see. When you see our contractual services, we reduced those substantially. $168,000 from year to year. Our materials and supplies went down minimally, but considering cost increases in those, to see that drop down, I was pleased to see that.
Yeah, I was noticing how that all dropped down, so.
Yeah, so, I
When's
mean,
it-
they're really doing a good job
That's
on that.
right, so when's the steak fry?
So just, I wanted to highlight that for the
Yes,
board.
thanks you guys, appreciate you guys looking out.
Good job.
Okay, let's move on to Andrew.
All right, thanks, Board and Chair. First thing is, I've been in communication with the 4th of July committee from the city.
Okay, who are you talking to with that? Is it Jen DeHaan?
I can't remember.
She's the new.
I think it must be.
Yeah, okay, okay.
She reached out. They have a 30-foot trailer that they're gonna build a float out of. And they're looking for somewhere to store it. We don't really have anywhere to store it. I let her know that none of our facilities met that, what they'd be looking for. It's too harsh of an environment to be storing them and too much liability on our end.
Well, as the mayor, and I'm speaking for the city, no, we don't, they're gonna have to figure something else because we can't do that. We as a city is building a float and through Modern Display, and they're going to house it for us. And so we plan on taking it out to other city parades, and then we'll bring it back and they'll put it back away. But this situation that's happened kind of came from the other previous chair that actually told him to go ahead and build this without
Okay.
approval. And so I'm trying to find a way how we can fund that float too. But right now, they need a place to build it, and then they need a place to be able to house it. And I spoke with Granite School District about maybe the mechanic shop down there, but they don't want to engage in that unless the city, we end up buying that building. But, so, yeah, my recommendation, and I'm gonna go back to the water side, is if we do it for one, then, and I'm gonna ask Nathan for legal help, if we do it for one, then we pretty well open the floodgate for everybody.
That's always a concern. I mean, I think that this is unique enough to the community that you could probably make an exception there. But, I mean, the issue, Andrew, is one, we don't really have a facility that's suitable to store.
We don't. Anywhere that's large enough to fit it is either full or too harsh of an environment to store it.
We actually, back in the day when I first got on the board, Ed Hansen was the manager, and he stored a float down at the sewer plant and I guess when they pulled it out, it was just nasty and stinky.
Just can't, that's all.
Yeah, the only real option that we could even offer if the board was in support of it is to put it here out in our lot, which wouldn't be protected.
No,
And so
you know
we
what,
wouldn't
I
go.
just think my recommendation is from the water side, and the board can decide. I just think I don't think it's a good practice to do that, because I think if you do it, then, somebody else from the community might want to bring something up here, but, I'm open to what you guys want.
No, I
The
don't,
liability and
the
everything with
liability's too high, yeah.
And when they done it before down at the plant, they put it in that press building and it was bad.
Yeah, I think the management is all in agreement with that it doesn't do us much. The other thing that they reached out about was us using our water trailer at the church. I guess they're changing locations where they're gonna be centered.
No, now that's all changed back, so they're going to do the breakfast, the Knights of the Columbus is gonna do it down at the Copper Park.
Okay.
My recommendation, I thought, so they didn't have to haul all the stuff down to the pavilion at the park, just do it at your church. You could do the 5K, start it there and go around, but you got some of the Knights of the Columbus board members that don't want to do that, they wanna keep it down at the park. And my deal is, that's fine, but you guys gotta go get all your permits, what you need to do to qualify, and then I'll provide them 3 golf carts to get people down and back for the breakfast, and then we'll have the flag ceremony down there. And other than that, there's nothing gonna go on down at the park at the day other than that night for fireworks.
Okay, so they may not be in need of that water trailer anymore.
Well,
We're able,
I'm actually gonna see her tonight.
so she reached out to me, and I haven't heard back from her since.
Do you have
just
a
that-
phone number for
Yeah,
her?
I do.
Okay, tell me what that number is and I'll tell you if you got the right number.
I'll
Or
grab
just
it
tell
for
me
you
later.
after.
Yeah, tell me later.
So we can supply that water trailer for them, and then we could use it for the parade. The one thing that would change for us if we, in doing this, would be, we wouldn't want to leave that trailer unmanned.
Oh, absolutely not.
And so that would mean that we were gonna have to spend money on having somebody there from 7 AM till probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Right. You know, and I don't,
What day of the week is that?
It's a Saturday.
it's a Saturday, and I don't know how many cases of water, Dan, is in that back room? There's, and they only needed 150 bottles is what? I think there's enough. I think the previous council,
You can buy the bottled water for what it costs to man a guy on that
well,
water truck.
that's exact, and that's where I'm at there too, is I don't know if I wanna spend taxpayer money to pay somebody overtime, and especially they wanna be with their family on a Saturday, and good luck trying to find somebody to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, let me talk to her tonight, cause I'll see her at a meeting at 6 o'clock, and we'll go down that route.
Okay. All right, appreciate it.
Okay, thank
And,
you.
The other thing that we've got going on is we've got some of our newer employees heading out to flagger training at the end of the month, get them certified. We just started succession planning this week. Managers have filled out some key positions as well as some of their risks and headaches that's going on right now so that we can start planning. Up next, we'll send out a survey to the employees, and then we'll follow up from there with meetings. We've got Gene registered to do his qualified water efficient landscaper course through Jordan Valley.
Okay.
We're excited about that, and that's it for me today, unless there's any other questions.
I had a question, but I forgot what it was, and when I think about it, I'll bring it back to you.
Thank you.
So, okay, thank you. So let's move on to our project award and agreements. I guess, is it Trevor?
I'll give you,
Okay.
just on this first one.
Okay,
So these are a list of our annual vendor purchase agreements. These are larger purchases that we do, and they're primarily sole source, meaning we can't reasonably find an alternative in the valley that meets our needs. So we wanted to make sure that we brought these to the board because they exceeded the $50,000 limit that I have authority to approve.
Did we not get rid of chlorine? Or fluoride?
Yeah, fluoride's not included in this.
I don't know of anybody else that sells chlorine
So-
other than
Yeah,
Thatcher.
so so you're only approved up to 50?
yeah.
Will you do me a favor? Will you bring that back next month? I think we need to lift that approval,
Okay.
if you will, please.
But if you have any questions on any of these, they're prepared to discuss those. They're all necessary, and we've made the determination that they're required, but we still want to make sure that the board.
So Nathan, do we have to go through one by one to approve them?
I think you could probably, it's not listed as a common consent item, but I think you probably could. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I mean, what I would suggest, well, as I understand it, Clint, these are, these are items that qualify for the sole source procurement policy. And you've gone through the sole source process, which means you wouldn't necessarily need the board's approval anyway, but because it exceeds the small purchase threshold, in an interest of being transparent, you're bringing it to the board.
Yes.
So the reality is that the board doesn't even need to approve them at all, but it couldn't hurt to have the board's blessing. So if that's the case, you could probably just do one motion to approve them all, unless you have concerns about individual amounts.
So there's more companies than Eccles Paving. That's the only one I had a
Yeah,
question.
and that one is not sole source, but it is the state contract.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It
they-
is.
they've-
And these
And
are all
that's-
state
And that meets the small
And
purchase
that meets the
threshold.
small.
Okay, that's why they're on there.
That's why they're on there. But Steve can tell you, that's for specific circumstances when we can't do it ourselves.
Yeah, it's for the bigger jobs like on the moratorium stuff that the county, the new pavement that they require us to some of the stuff that they require us to do, they require us to go 15 feet each side of the cut on new
Right,
pavement.
ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And so some of them cuts end up, depending on where the hole is, it can end up
Half the
40, 50
road.
feet wide and the entire width of the road.
I'd like you guys to get a bid from Granite Construction now that the asphalt plant's going down there to compete with Morgan.
Good, yeah, that's a
It'd
good
be good to
idea.
get a bid from them on asphalt now.
For like the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're good quality too. I don't know if they're any better than Morgan, but they would be as good, possibly better.
And they might give us a deal because we're just right here.
I think so. I think so. They want to be a friendly neighbor.
Sounds good.
Definitely worth checking into.
So do we want to approve the way they're listed, or do we need to call each one out?
So let me make sure, so Jeff, was your comment there about the Eccles paving?
Yeah.
Did you want another bid for that one?
No,
So-
no. This is a state bid, so it's okay.
He's talking about for the jobs
For
that we
when
do
we do our
in-house.
own stuff.
Oh, so that's not on the agenda?
Not on
Okay,
there.
okay, sorry. Yeah, I think you could do you could do a motion to approve items 1A through G.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve project awards and agreements of these vendors' annual purchase amounts, A through G.
I second that.
Okay, motion and second.
Aye.
So I was just telling Leal, so going back to approval, raising your limit, I would be totally comfortable with $100,000 because that would take a lot of this off here.
Yeah, it would.
And that way we don't have to bring that. Okay, let's move on to Haynes Wells number 7.
Okay. So, as you know, we were doing the Hayneswell 7 rehabilitation project. That's been completed for a while, and during that process, we had to develop the well a little bit more, and there were a few sections within that that were stubborn. We were getting the sand down to an acceptable level, and it took more than the hours that were in the original contract. And so that's basically what this is. We just got the cost from the contractor, and so bringing that back to you. We were trying to reach a level of 100 parts per million or less in each zone. They break them up in like 10-foot zones, and there were a couple, about 20 feet that was higher than that. And it was to our benefit to get that sand down lower, one for the pump itself, and then once that water reaches the EDR, we're not clogging up those pre-filters.
You get the sand down, you bail it out.
Well, they essentially, develop with a dual swab tool that will push and pull that material until the sand
And it
is
makes it
reaches the
settle, or
level.
they pull it?
They pull it out, they bell it,
Holy cow.
yeah.
But they're
So-
basically directing the water in a certain zone.
Yeah, they'll go down in like 20-foot zones and just work that zone, and then
So
once the
basically
sand
pulling it
level.
in through the,
Yeah, yeah, so getting all
Yeah,
those, you have your gravel pack, but there's fine sands that will make it through that, so they're trying to get rid of all of that back in. So we're not pulling that in when we pump.
well, that's pretty cheap if we got it to meet the requirements.
Yeah, and it's been up and running, they've been using that
Yeah,
all
it's
winter,
running
and it's,
all winter long, so.
That sand will cost us in a pump cost,
yes, as well as at the EDR,
a
so.
lot more than this.
Very beneficial for us to get that to where we are comfortable, and it's, not producing sand, so.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Haynes Well number 7 rehabilitation project change order, Woodson Turbine Services for $26,262.50.
I'll second that.
The motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of the UASD 2026 annual membership dues.
Yeah, I can take that and Leal can support it. She put this together obviously, this is to continue our membership in the Utah Association of Special Districts. They charge their fees, membership fees, based on your annual operating budget. So you have to go into that table that's in your packet and find where we are in there, and then the equivalent fee. So we're in that $9 million to $15 million range, and that's where the $12,608 is. I think that's fairly significant cost for a membership. So it's not something that we just want to rubber stamp on, but I will say that we have found in our experience that they've actually done quite a bit for the district. And anytime we've had an issue where they could provide lobbying efforts on, they've been active in trying to set up meetings with the legislature. And then they also provide the annual training. So I think it's a worthwhile effort from my opinion, but I think the
I
board's.
don't like to see how they charge it based on your annual, your gross amount. I would rather see them base it on your population of the community. But we don't see the stuff they do at the legislature and stuff, and I'm all for them. I think they do a great job, the training and everything they do, and they'll back us up 100%.
Yeah, if that's something that you'd like me to bring up in a.
I just think it looks bad if it's kind of like insurance. If they base it on your gross volume, that doesn't say the risk you have. I mean, the fact that we do water and sewer, and our population, our community, I think would be a better, to me, it would seem more realistic than your gross revenue. I
Yeah.
just don't think that reflects on how much we do it all, but, and I'm just saying the way they report it, but I think what they do, I have no qualms about that at all.
Yeah, Nathan might have some longer term insight into why they do it this way. I don't have much background on
Yeah,
that.
I don't either.
It's always been that way, I think, at least during my tenure as an advisor to their board. It's not something because just to explain I'm an advisor to their board. I'm not a board member because I'm not actually a part of the district. I used to be an ex officio member, but then they had to change that due to, I think, some tax issues. But, so I'm not I think it was probably done because they have a very small staff and that was an easier way to do it. But that's certainly something you could raise with them as a member. I will say in terms of what they provide, I'm a lobbyist. I'm registered for you guys, but I'm a subject matter lobbyist. And so what that means is I get involved if there's an issue, but Heather and LeGrand are up there all the time. And for you guys to get, essentially they are in a way functioning for your as your lobbyists that are up there, not the expert that comes. So what they'll do is they'll say, hey Nathan, does this impact Magna Water? Or I can let Magna Water know. We go up there every Tuesday and keep track of bills, and that's sending you guys texts on that.
He sends us, LeGrand sends it daily.
Yeah.
Daily
Yeah.
emails.
And I'm impressed with him, man, by the
Oh,
way, too.
Yeah, all of them. I have no qualms about it
and just-
whatsoever.
To give you an idea, if you didn't use them, the cost of having another lobbyist do
No.
that for you would be like
I
70
wouldn't even
grand a
think of
year.
it.
Or
That
more.
shouldn't even come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
For what, the backing, we don't even know all the stuff they do at the legislature. I'm just saying, when I see that, it doesn't reflect on how many people we're serving. I think that would be better for the population and the fact we do sewer and water. It reminds me of insurance when you see it rated by how many million you do. I just don't think that's reflective on our community. That's all.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we can pass that information
I don't
along.
like to hear that's an easy way to do it.
And don't quote me on that. I don't know. Actually, you know what? I don't want to guess as to why they did it that way because I don't know.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying, it's just
It's
me.
been that way since
Yeah, it's always been that way.
It's always good to ask those questions, though.
Yeah, just because that's been the way it's been. And I will say, if it's something that you raise, they will bring it up at the next board meeting. They will
Well,
say, hey.
I'm not complaining about their services, and I'm not complaining what we pay. I'm just saying the way they rate that, I think it's not very accurate. But I'm not complaining of what we pay. because the service that we get, there's a lot of things they do, we don't even see what they do. So I have no qualms over that.
Sounds good.
It just kind of irks me because the insurance company comes in and they charge me by my gross sales. It doesn't charge me by my net profit, which could be zero. They charge you by your gross sales, but it doesn't even charge me by my exposure, you know, as far as how many employees I have or anything else. It's done on gross sales, and that just drives me crazy.
So they have a board meeting tomorrow at 8:30 that I will be able to attend part of. I can raise it then if you want.
I don't think it hurts to ask.
Yeah,
I can ask.
good to ask.
I think it's just, like I said,
I think what you're getting at, to me, is would we be paying more providing dual services? Because the dual service is reflected in our cost, but it's not dual population. We're providing dual services for 30,000, so whether we were just providing water or just providing sewer,
right,
It would be less.
it would be less potentially. Now, for another agency that just does water
right,
only, and they have the same population, and then another district provides sewer to that same
right.
population, they would both be paying, you know.
I'm just saying they're using this for an easy calculation, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure it represents. And like I said, I'm not complaining about what we pay. Maybe in some cases it should be a little higher, but they do a great job. I just think that's a quick and dirty way to calculate it, and I don't know, maybe that's the fairest way, I don't know.
Yeah.
It does capture the sewer and water, but like I said, I don't know.
Okay.
We could just ask them, is there any other way to calculate it?
Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
If you think about a company that services just water, I would imagine their numbers would be lower for the same population possibly.
Right, right.
Or if you're buying Jordan Valley water, then they would be higher and you'd
Yeah.
pay more.
That's right.
That's a good
Yeah.
point, huh? If you're having to buy the water and then do it, then you're paying more.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're double paying because you got them lobbying plus Jordan Valley lobbying. I don't know. I guess I better just shut up.
No, that's good questions.
I about fell asleep. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, someone wants to motion this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll motion to approve the UASD 2026 annual membership dues for $12,608.
I'll second that.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, on this agenda, for some reason, I forgot to put names by the items. So I think the next item,
I was just guessing.
I know, I apologize.
No, you're good.
We wanted to get clarification on, and wishes from the board on when they want us to start putting out the election notice. Clint, you can.
Yeah, so I think we talked last time about Leal had put together a plan.
Right.
But we didn't really ask for the board's guidance on when to publish and put these notices out. In the past, Leal has typically waited till we're much closer to the time to notify and open a vacancy, of the board. And so I think last time in the conversation, there was some discussion about doing that right away, but wanted to make sure that the board wanted to go that direction.
And Clint,
Do you
if
have
I
any
may, yeah, I think that was
insight?
my recommendation, is that we have had, the candidacy declaration filing is a little confusing, because our requirements are a little different than the municipalities, and we've had some just legitimate misunderstandings with people that have come in to file. And so my concern when we made the change to the election date is we wanted to give citizens ample time. And so we have legal notices that we have to do, but we had talked before of just doing voluntary stuff to just say, hey, everyone, we've had a change in election year. They'll now be on even years. And so if you want to file, the new deadline is this, and then maybe send out I was thinking more kind of before you do the actual legal notice, doing some just PR notice to educate.
What, maybe a
public.
month ahead, or what do you think?
But that's where we want to get
That's what we
direction
want
from the
your
board
guidance.
on.
My recommendation,
Because this is bullshit.
my recommendation would be that you do something now, not the legal notice, because it's too soon, but that you do
Can't we just
something.
wait till May?
You can, well, that's, and that,
Till May you can.
I think you want, that's your guys' call.
Yeah.
When do you want to
I
start
would
that?
wait till a month ahead.
Okay.
I would do it in May.
Then
What,
that's,
what's our, what is our legal part? When do we
The
advertise?
legal requirements, May 1st, we notify the elections office that we do have an election coming up.
Okay,
That's not public, but the actual requirement for the notice of candidacy is only 10 days before.
well, I'd say we do it the same time that we tell them that, wouldn't that be okay if we do it at the time we're
And-
notifying we're having an election?
and to be fair, we had already notified them last year that there was a change.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's been
That's
on
on
our
the website
website.
That's
still.
right.
Yeah.
So is that okay if we do it?
Yeah,
at the
and
same
I think
time?
that's the board's decision.
What do you think?
And we just want to make sure we're in alignment.
When the kickoff is, kind of,
Right.
right? May
Better
1st.
wait like you say. Wait, like you said, we're doing May.
Have it the same time we,
So maybe begin
Same
that
time
PR the 1st of May,
right,
When do they have to file?
June 1st through the 8th.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue, the thing is the way a lot of these legal notices are set up, complying with the law, a lot of members of the public don't think that that's sufficient. They're like, well, I needed more time, and you should have let me know. And-
So let me ask you a
But then they
question.
have
So
no
how
recourse.
did that work last year with the mayor's race? When did you have, I forgot when I had to file. I mean, when did it come up saying that we were gonna elect our first mayor? And when, I forgot when that was and when I had to sign up, and then all I know is it went on for 6 months.
Yeah, it was May, wasn't it?
I think, I'm trying to remember with those.
Probably.
Yeah, so we were able to get.
We don't want signs out on the lot right now.
No, you don't want, you're not campaigning.
I
it's
never
just-
heard any complaints from that, Nathan, that we changed and everything.
No, it-
Everybody seemed really good about.
Yeah,
well
nobody
informed.
complained to me about it. I didn't hear anything.
The other change, though, is that we got, with the UASD, me and Heather and LeGrand were able to get a change last year so that your declaration of candidacy filing period is actually in June. Because it was going to be
Yeah, I said
now.
June.
Oh,
And so
That's
that's,
gonna be, you had to file in January, right?
yeah, you had to- and so the point is when we did the notice last year, we were thinking that was before we did the legislation. And so what's changed isn't just your elections changed, the law has changed from it being now into June.
Into June.
okay.
10 days before.
Yeah, that's too short.
So, I mean, it's really your call. I mean, we could just do the standard notice, and we don't have to do anything more than that.
10 days ahead.
Yeah, that's what the law requires, but.
We didn't make, this is on the website right now. Trevor could probably pull it up. We don't have any dates. We just said we would not hold an election
Right.
in 2025. We didn't say it'd be in January or anything. So I think you're good with,
Did you guys get any feedback on that?
No.
'Cause I never got no
No.
feedback on it.
you can see this is still on there. So we've notified them. I think now we just,
Okay.
when the board wants us to put out
I
The
would say
information.
if 10 days, that, I mean,
in May,
yeah.
May 1st. May
No,
1st?
10 days would,
No, I'd
Oh,
say
Oh,
10 days
okay.
before June,
yeah, 10
was it
days
June
would
1st to
be
June 10th?
middle of May.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say middle of May then, 10 days before.
We'll just make sure we meet our minimum.
Absolutely.
Make sure it meets the
Stay ahead
criteria
of the
of.
minimum. Yeah,
So about the middle of May we'll target.
yeah, let's,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
So man, then you got
That gives us
campaign on
marching
April,
orders.
November.
Well, and to be fair, when we first started talking about it, the real concern is most people were used to filing their declaration of candidacy in June, and we were gonna be switching to a year in which it was gonna be in January.
Yeah.
Now that it's June, that's less of an impact than what we were
Yeah.
talking about
a
before.
lot better.
Great.
Okay, will do.
So do we make a motion? We don't need to make a motion on that, do we?
No,
I
they're
don't
just,
think so. Just,
Okay,
Correct.
just on number 2 on the hearing, or do we?
Do we have to make a motion on the hearing?
We need to make we need to make a motion stating that we are
Holding a
that.
public hearing,
Okay.
okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to hold a public hearing to be held on February 19th, 2026, to be held at 6 PM, to allow the public comment on the district's amended impact fee facilities plan and amended impact fee enactment.
I'll second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, Nathan.
I already gave you.
I was gonna say, you gave me the update, so there's,
The only other thing I would say, and Mick is aware of this, being at the same meetings I am up there now with the city, is I think there's a push this session to, we've heard both from President Adams and Speaker Schultz in the league meetings, and one of the things they mentioned is that they've been receiving a push by their constituents on property taxes, and they were clear, not from municipalities or districts. This was coming from Speaker Schultz, but from school districts and some other things, and so they're getting some pressure on property taxes, and so there's quite a few property tax reform bills that are in the hopper. Well, the counties are one of the bigger targets, and so this is kind of working its way through. I think the general observation is I think there's a desire to lessen the property tax burden and move to more of a fee usage-based approach to things. And obviously the devil's in the details, but the concern for districts is, especially if you're growing districts, you can't grow. It's so much easier to be able to bond and use property tax revenue. So right now, I'm not exactly sure how that'll impact districts. I will say in terms of timing, we're about halfway through the session. Last I heard earlier this week, they've passed about 40 bills. I think that's probably increased, but this is a record year in terms of numbers of bills. There's actually even
how many?
there's even a bill from a freshman Representative Okerlund, to limit how many bills they can hit. But the long and short of it, we're going to be seeing, it's going to be coming pretty fast and furious, and I think I'll be texting Clint and Trevor, on a more regular basis of, hey, have you seen this bill? But right now, in terms of water, there's that. There's another bill from Representative Ward, HB 184, that would allow a property owner to essentially propose their own lot-specific land use requirement.
Right.
The concern with that one, it's intended to support starter homes, which is also a big priority of leadership this year. And I'm not entirely, the bills, I don't fully understand. I think the intent is to kind of essentially get a variance for your lot through a more simplistic process rather than necessarily get a building permit. But that's not entirely clear, because if they propose it, they don't need to get a will serve letter from you. They could just go to the city and say, here's what I'd like to do. The city would have some discretion to deny it. And so it's not like the city would have to, but there's a concern in the land use community that would kind of lead to statewide zoning. And the concern that I would have is just the lack of consultation with the utility on it. And my personal opinion is I applaud the whole idea of starter homes. It's a worthy goal, because affordable housing is the #1 issue right now. But we already have a development agreement process where people can essentially do that.
Right, and one of the deal with the league is they're talking about more affordable housing. Well, it's kind of weird when you talk about affordable housing and water, right? Look at our water where we're at right now, what's gonna happen when spring comes or whatever, but, so how do you promote affordable housing? Are we gonna have enough water for this affordable housing, right? I mean, it was just kinda like, it was just,
Well, and the interesting thing about that bill is that it didn't really even require that it be affordable. It's just that you would have to deed restrict the property to sell it for 2 years at market rate.
right.
It was at or below market rate, so that was the comment I made at the league, is I wasn't quite sure what this would
Right.
fix, because if you're selling at a market rate, it's not affordable or a starter home. But anyway, I typically, just the way the session works, and we probably won't, this is the last time we'll meet before the end of the session, so it's a little bit of a challenge, because most of the bills that are gonna be passed are gonna happen between now and the end of the session before our next board meeting. So what I would just make sure that we're on the same page is that we work with, if you guys are okay with me working with Clint, and then to the extent needed, we can bring in Mick, but sometimes we just need to make an executive decision on whether we're gonna oppose something or not in accordance with your goals that we understand. Because we may not have time to convene another board. I do think that
So that'll be in the next couple days?
the session goes to the first week of March.
Oh, 1st of March.
So we're roughly halfway
2
through
more
the
weeks.
session, But now is when all of the bills will be passed. They usually spend the first part of the session working out the budget stuff, and that's why they haven't passed as much bills. There is a lot of focus on water this year. I don't, so far it hasn't really been that impactful to you. There's a lot on infrastructure. I don't know how some of those bigger, like there was one bill by SB 198, which, by Senator Sandel, which would create a state water manager to potentially build large regional infrastructure projects, and local districts or special districts could propose projects. I don't know if that bill will move. So right now, I've mentioned the one that I think is the biggest impact, which would be that potential fee. The other one that you guys are already doing is that if for any water provider that's requiring a water dedication, that you would have to have your 40-year plan in place, but you guys already do. So that wouldn't impact you. And actually, I think that's a good idea. So that's my report.
I think Bowen Collins has done a great job. I think that forecast we use and everything's been really good.
Yep, I agree.
And it's prepared us for what's upcoming.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like to see is that high-density housing that can really have a big impact on us. And there's no way you can plan for that other than, I don't know, there's no way you can plan for it. Maybe minimize it, limit it or something. We'll just have to see.
Well, one of the things they said, that Speaker Schultz said when he spoke with us, that he's like, we've put a lot of focus on apartments, and you guys have stepped up to the plate, and you've built a lot of apartments, and now we want to shift to starter homes. So that, to me, implies some lesser density. I mean, a starter home is going to be less dense than an apartment building.
Those starter homes they put down there on 8,000 with Thomas property, those are bad. I mean, big, deep lots with water in the crawl space and everything. It was just not done right. And I think if they were to put in everything they need to do, the problem is, even in high impact, it's still 500,000. That's not affordable housing. So the contractor's still making their money, but it's not affordable.
Well, that's the problem.
The problem I have with that whole situation, so you turn around about affordable housing, okay, what is affordable? I mean, I feel like Magna's got probably the most affordable housing out here, around, and they want us to bring in more affordable housing. Well, I'm not in favor of that. And, about the apartment deal is, they said about doing more apartments. Well, what do them people that rent them apartments, do they invest in the city? Absolutely not.
No,
They have nothing to invest in the city.
Nope.
They might come to the store, but other than doing anything else in the city, they go outside of the city. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, is our leakage from here to West Valley, what our leakage is and all that stuff. But no, I struggle with the high density housing. That's one thing I'm not for. I feel like we're dealing with this up here. This has been nothing. Our time's been spent up here with this problem.
Yeah, we've had to bail them out. If we didn't come with suggestions, that would be even worse.
Anyhow, I mean, we'll work through it and see what we're at. But our next board meeting is going to be March 12th, 2026 here at 10 a.m.
Yeah. I wanted to take a minute and just thank all you guys, the whole board, all you guys. It makes this job, our job, look real easy. And we've all worked together, and I think that's the secret here. And I want to just thank you guys, appreciation for you guys doing such a good job. Thank you. And trying to hold everything, and we've all learned together, and I think that's made it look real easy. But it's not. You guys put a lot of time and effort into it, and I want to thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
Well, and I want to say one
I
thing.
feel the same way. It's really been nice, all of you.
For bearing our testimonies.
Likewise.
So what I want to say is I really do appreciate you guys. And I know sometimes the board don't show, sometimes I don't feel like we show the appreciation that you guys deserve, because you guys are out doing all the footwork and all that. And all we do is take the complaints, right? And not really know what you guys are doing. So we kind of, at times I find myself, hey, whoa, stand back for a minute. You know what? Find out the facts. But me as the chair, I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to thank Nathan for keeping me in line, keeping me out of jail. and I also want to thank you guys out there for your guys' support in coming, Doyle, and you guys for having our backs too. Because at the end of the day, and this is what I'm trying to stress to the city council is when whatever service district we use, if we fail, they fail. If they fail, we fail, because we're a team. And if you plan on winning a battle as individuals, then you better, as Steve knows, go wrestle. But like I said, when we're all together, so if one of us fail, we all fail together, because as far as I'm concerned, we're a team, and I just wished I could take this page that I got here and transfer it down onto Main Street with the council that I have. But you know what? We're all gonna be fine. It's just trying to get to know each other and trying to, find, and Nathan's our new city attorney, so he's thinking to me, Mick, what in the hell was I thinking? But it'll get better.
That's true. We
I
get some-
worry when you talk about starter homes, because the quality of starter homes back in the 70s were crap, and they didn't last.
Well,
But-
and that's not my priority, that's.
No,
the legislative-
I'm just saying though, but now that we have better inspections and quality requirements and stuff, so it will be better, but somehow the contractors are gonna figure out how to make a buck.
So,
Well, but that's the other thrust that we see each year are bills to allow the builders to use their own building inspections.
That's
and
the
do
bad
their
part.
own.
Yeah, that's-
That's,
is that bill gonna pass, do you think?
we have seen a bill of that ilk every single session
Right.
for the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know if it's going to pass. Typically, in my experience, the land use bills that come out early in the session are not the ones that typically pass. They usually get folded into something. What typically happens is there's a big land use bill every year, and it comes out in the last 2 weeks. And the league will be letting us know, but they usually kind of hold that back until the very end. And that's where you'll see some concepts from some of these bills that you'll see in the beginning that'll make it at the end. But I don't know if it'll
So
pass.
how that's gonna impact us, I can only speak from experience, is they build a house and they run the sewer out and they don't compact it good, and then what happens? 5 or 10 years, the sewer settles and gets a hump in it, and then they're calling saying, my sewer's plugged. So I think we just need a better snake that goes all the way up and inspects the homeowner. That's the biggest problem we can have, either a cross connection or a settled sewer line going to the street, so.
I know, again, I want to thank you guys for everything and making us who we are.
I do too.
Yeah, it makes it look easy.
I appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
So now ask us, what do you guys really want? Okay, so
you
does
ready?
someone want, we need to have a closed session. Does someone want to motion?
Yeah, I can motion, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to motion to take a brief recess and immediately following meeting, closed meeting to discuss purchase, exchange, lease, sell real property, including form of water right, water shares pending a reasonable imminent litigation and collective bargaining issues pursuant to Utah Code 524204 through 205.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
It's 11:18.
Time is what? Okay.
Okay,
What time is it?
it is
12:55.
12:55.
I'll make a motion to close the closed meeting and reopen the public board meeting.
And I second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay,
This here,
do we have anything else?
no,
Do we need to consider any action, notice agenda?
no,
Okay, so do you
other
want to make a
business.
motion?
And I'm making a motion to adjourn.
I second it. Motion is seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay.